In the recent past, one of Kenya's most renowned automotive content creator was in the hot soup after some fans and customers accused him of paying him to import cars for them. However, the cars were never delivered. On this episode of Cars and Laws, we are going to take you through the processes in which you may recover your money if your dealer or vendor or importer vanishes with your money. As always, I'll be your host, Wakili Cedric Magotsi, and welcome to this episode of Cars and Laws. So on this episode, we shall take you through the criminal procedure way of recovering your assets or your money. What does the criminal procedure way involve? Sheria za Kenya ziko na the Criminal Procedure Code, which guides vile cases za criminal offenses zinafaa kuwa handled in Kenya. In addition to that, hizi kesi ziko na kitu inaitwa the Penal Code. The Penal Code prescribes the offense and the sentence thereafter. Kama ni stealing, hiyo itakuwa prescribed offense. Sentence ya stealing itakuwa ngapi? Hizi zitapatikana kwa kitu inaitwa Penal Code. Penal Code is an act under the laws of Kenya. Now, umepea huyu jamaa do, inafaa kuimportia gari, what happens next? Akadisappear. The first thing you're supposed to do under this first method of recovery ni kuenda kupiga ripoti pale kwa polisi. Unaenda unapiga ripoti, unapewa OB number. After hapo, polisi watakuambia wanataka kuinvestigate. Now, already umepea ule jamaa mwingine kama 1 million. Ukikuja kwa polisi watakuambia probably gari yake haina fuel, ama yeye mwenyewe hata hajakula. So again, hapo from the 1 million you've spent, unaongeza more ya kufuel gari ya polisi. Polisi atenda atafuta ule suspect, ampate ama simpate. Let's say amempata, atashika ule jamaa, the guy will be brought to the police station, abukiwe in, then akiwa pale police station, depending on how well he is connected, anaweza lipa ile kitu tuliongelea inaitwa police bail. Police bail anaweza lipishwa hata 5,000. Remember, you've lost 1 million. Huyu jamaa apewe police bail ya 5,000. Aambiwe akuje achukue plea on another date, aachiliwe atoke polisi. From there, the police will prepare the charge sheet with all the offenses. In this particular case, hiyo charge sheet inafaa ikuwe na at least 3 offenses. Polisi akiprepare hii charge sheet, anaweza capture this offense against this seller ama this vendor ama this importer under 3 charges. I'll take you through some of these charges zinakuwa captured kwa charge sheet. The first charge anaweza kuwa charge nayo ni obtaining by false pretense. Hii iko under section 313 of the Penal Code. Obtaining by false pretense inasema nini? Any person who by any false pretense and with the intent to defraud obtains from another person anything capable of being stolen, or induces any other person to deliver any peculiar thing that is capable of being stolen, is guilty of a misdemeanor and is liable to imprisonment for 3 years. Hiyo ni obtaining by false pretense. Huyu jamaa atakuwa ameobtain by false pretense. Kisheria, he is liable for an imprisonment time of 3 years. Hiyo itakuwa offense ya kwanza, itakuwa captured kwa charge sheet. Another offense inaweza kuwa captured kwa hiyo charge sheet, iko provided under section 316, itakuwa obtaining by credit. Obtaining by credit under section 316 of the Penal Code. Section 316 part B, any person with the intent to defraud his creditors or any of them, or makes or causes to be made any gift, delivery or transfer of any change of his property, or with the intent to defraud his creditors or any of them, conceals, sells or removes any part of his property after within the 2 months before the date of unsatisfied judgment or orders for payment of money obtained against him, is guilty of a misdemeanor and is liable for an imprisonment of 1 year. Hiyo ni section 316 of the Penal Code. Hiyo ni obtaining by credit. Hapo jamaa amekuobtain, anapigwa sentence ya 1 year. Another offense inafaa iko kwa hiyo charge sheet, conspiracy to defraud. Conspiracy to defraud. Hii ni section 317 of the penal code. Section 317 inasema nini? Any person who conspires with another by deceit or any fraudulent means to affect the market price of anything publicly sold or to defraud the public or any person, whether a particular person or not, or to extort any property from any person, is guilty of a misdemeanor and is liable for an imprisonment of 3 years. So hizo ni offenses 3 zitakuwa captured kwa ile charge sheet. Tuko hapo sawa? OB na mtu anapiga ripoti, anapata OB, ule jamaa anashikwa, either kama ni police bail analipa, polisi ama investigation officer ana prepare charge sheet. Each charge sheet ita capture those aspects of law: conspiracy to defraud, obtaining by credit, obtaining by false pretenses. Hizo zinafaa zikuwe charges zitakuwa captured kwa charge sheet. Zikiwa captured kwa charge sheet, huyo officer atachukua hiyo charge sheet akiprepare. Nimesema charge sheet ni ile mashtaka ambayo mshukiwa anashtakiwa nayo. After hapo hiyo charge sheet inapelekwa kwa ODPP from the police officer. ODPP anaweigh kama kuna kesi ama hakuna kesi, depending on the evidence that has been collected. Kutokea hapo ule jamaa mshukiwa atainvitiwa kotini akuja take plea. If he pleads guilty to the said offenses zile tumesoma hapo juu za penal code, anaweza jailiwa ama apigwe fine. But from these offenses tumeona hakuna fine yoyote mtu anapigwa, ni jail straight away. So anaweza plead guilty ajailiwe ama plead not guilty. Either akiplead not guilty ataachiliwa kama amelipa court bail ama court bond. So atalipa cash bail pale kotini ama ambiwe lipe bond pale kotini ndio achiliwe. Then after that, so kesi ianze. Now, our courts ziko na kesi mingi sana. So this case might take, a normal criminal court case takes between 2 to 3 years ndio iishe. So kesi itakuja, ule mshtakiwa alete, ianze na kitu inaitwa first mention. Ule jamaa kuja confirm kuna documents zote. Kesi ianze kusikizwa, wewe ambao umepoteza pesa ukuje upeane evidence, kama kuna witnesses wako ukuje upeane evidence. Then kimaliza pande yenu, yule mshukiwa akuje pia apeane evidence. Then court itatoa uamuzi whether this person is guilty or not guilty. Tunaelewana hadi hapo? So you'll take 2 to 3 years. You'll be coming to court every time there's a hearing. You'll be spending money coming to court. You'll be spending money on the officer. Then probably ule jamaa pia anajuana na magistrate ama judge, kidogo kesi yako iende hivyo. So you might lose that case. You've spent money. Remember, the original 1 million ulipea ule jamaa kukuipotia gari is not yet recovered. So the criminal procedure way of recovery is one hectic procedure. You'll spend more, you'll take time, and the case will take 2 or 3 years kuisha. Remember, kama hii 1 million ungekuwa umekata kwa account ya bank, ingekuwa ime earn interest. Ungekuwa umepea wale wase mashailo nini, hiyo pesa ingekuwa ime earn interest. Now you don't have your money, you're spending time coming in court, and chances are you have close to a 70 to 80% of winning your case. For me, I wouldn't advise anybody to go through the criminal procedure way, because iko na too many loopholes, and the end result or the end judgment is predetermined on a whole lot of things. It's predetermined by the kind of investigation done by the police. It's predetermined by how the prosecution handles the case, and most importantly, it's predetermined by how you as a victim presents your case. Then finally, everything will fall squarely on the judge or the magistrate to give a determination of that criminal case. So at the end of the day, time is spent, lots of money is spent. The decision is not 100% guaranteed. It's a hectic process. However, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Ukifactor hiyo in, still you'll be at a loss. The worst part about this is, yes, you might get a judgment. kesi kuwe in favor of yourself. Remember huyu msee amekuwa nje, amekuwa akipiga tu biashara yake, ameendelea na biz kama kawaida, then ndio upate judgment which favors you. Ule jamaa kuwe convicted, however he appeals the said conviction. An appeal process again takes 2 to 3 years to be completed. Ule jamaa ata file appeal pale high court, appeal ianze, another 2 to 3 years. Remember, hii process ikiendelea, hujapata do yako, bado unalipa wakili, bado unakuja kotini. This is a period of almost 6 years. God forbid, ukitafuta tu ile do yako ya kuimport gari. Now you've spent 6 years to get judgment. Yes, hata appeal ushinde. Ukirealize hii do, hii 1 million ungekuwa umeweka kwa account, hiyo interest, hii do ingekuwa ime-earn in that account, ingekuwa do poa sana. Hii 1 million ungekuwa ime-invest in the chicken business, hiyo do ungeweka in that business, ingekuwa ime-earn some good interest. So is the criminal procedure way of recovery the best? Again, as I've said and I've indicated, it's time wasting, it's lengthy, costly, and time versus value for money, for me, it doesn't bring any valuation there. Tulisema chances za offenses zitakuwa 3, za obtaining na za fraud. So once obtaining by false pretense, the sentence is 3 years. Obtaining by credit, the sentence is 1 year. Then conspiracy to defraud, the sentence is 3 years. Now, hizi offenses zote, if someone is found guilty, it will be upon the judge or upon the magistrate to determine how he or she is going to sentence this offender. There are 2 types of sentencing. Kuna concurrent sentencing na kuna consecutive sentencing. Judge anaweza amua sentence huyu jamaa concurrently. What does concurrently means? Huyu jamaa tumemshika na offense ya defrauding, obtaining by credit na conspiracy to defraud. Moja ni 3 years, ingine ni 1 year, ingine ni 3 years. Judge anaweza sema huyu jamaa serve hizo sentence zote concurrently. Depending on the length of the longest sentence hapo ni 3 years. So huyu jamaa atakaa kotini, atakaa jela, ama inafaa kaa jela for 3 years. But if you get a good judge, anaweza sema huyu jamaa aserve hizi sentences consecutively. So ni 3 offenses, ataserve 3 years ya kwanza akimaliza, aingie 3 years ya pili akimaliza, aingie the final year. Hiyo atakuwa amepiga 7 years in prison. But again, hata akiwa in prison, unajua do yako utakuwa umerecover. So the guy will be in prison, yes, atakuwa punished, atakuwa sentenced, but you won't have recovered your money. That is one of the main disadvantages of using this criminal procedure way of recovery of your money. The second way of recovering your lost money is the civil procedure way of recovery. What do I mean by the civil procedure way? This way, hakuna haja ya kupitia polisi, hakuna haja ya kupitia ODPP, na hakuna haja ya kupitia the criminal procedure way. The civil procedure, basically civil procedure ina deal na breaches in contracts, breaches in debt owed, other financial obligations. Hizo zote, bora kuna ile breach, mtu ako na deni, na hii deni inaweza kuwa quantifiable, hizo zina fall under the civil procedure way ama the civil procedure laws. Now, umepea huyu jamaa pesa kuimportia gari, haja import. Remember our first episode on the best and the safest legal ways of purchasing a car? Go back to that episode to explain vizuri vile gari, steps to be followed when safely purchasing a motor vehicle from an individual. Hiyo video tushafanya iko pale. Now, umefollow your processes. You have the documentation, you have the contract, and you have the paper trail. Again, tuli insist pesa ilipo through account ama through M-Pesa ndio kukuwe na paper trail. You have the paper trail. Huyu jamaa umempea pesa kuimportia gari, akaingia mitini. What do you do? In the civil procedure, kuna 2 types of courts. Kuna the small claims court na kuna the normal civil courts. Tutaanza na process. Process will be the same hadi ifike kufile kesi kotini. Now umepea huyu jamaa amedisappear. The first thing is you do a demand notice to this guy. Mwambie ni aje, within 7 days you're supposed to reimburse me my money I gave to import the car for me. 7 days ikiisha, hii demand letter itaandikwa na wakili. 7 days ikiisha, uona ja respond ama ja sema anything ama ja kurudishia pesa yako, you can do another follow up letter. This will take 3 days. Unamwambia in the next 3 days, if you will not have reimbursed me my money, we shall proceed to file this case in court. Hiyo ni a period of 10 to 14 days. Unampea 14 days a reimburse ido. Akikata kureimburse, now you need to file this case in a court of law. The first court of law unaweza file hii kesi ni small claims court. Lakini jurisdiction ama ile power ya small claim courts ni kuhandle amounts that are less than 1 million. So kama ulikuwa unanunuliwa gari ya 600,000 ama ya 800,000, hiyo kesi itakuwa fitting to be filed in a small claims court. Tumeelewana hadi hapo? The good thing about a small claims court, iko na time period ya kusikiza kesi between 0 to 3 months. However, kuna kesi zinaweza roll over but hazifai go more than 6 to 7 months. So basically the maximum time a case can be filed in a small claims court kuanzia mwanzo hadi mwisho ni 7 months. But kisheria hizi kesi zote zinafaa ziishe within 3 months. But again, with the backlog of our Kenyan courts, saa zingine hiyo 3 months inakuanga not a desirable ama not an actual time frame for a case to be heard from beginning to end. But most small 90% of our small claim courts zinajaribu cases zinafaliwa on time na judgments zinakuwa delivered on time. So what does it mean to file a case in a small claims court? Una file case, kuna kitu inaitwa mention notice inapeano ya kwanza. Hii mention notice ya kwanza ina invite the other party to court, anaambiwa in 15 days either file response yake ama kama anaweza asettle hiyo kesi. After 15 days, the first 15 days kesi itakuwa na mention. Hii mention ya kuconfirm tu ule jamaa mwingine alisaviwa. Kusaviwa ni ile kupewa makaratasi ya kotini. Na vile tulisema in our last episode, siku hizi unaweza saviwa via WhatsApp. Ukiona mtu amekutumia shilingi, make jua chances za hiyo ni court case inakuja. Unaweza saviwa via WhatsApp, via email ama uletewe hizo makaratasi za kotini physically to your location. So unafaa userve hizo court documents na the first mention notice. Hizo unapeleka pale kotini, unapelekea ule jamaa, unamwambia kuna kesi kotini, within 15 days put in your response. Now that's the first thing. The first mention date will come after 15 days. After 15 days kama ule jamaa ja file ama respond, court inaweza kupea another 15 days for a mention to confirm umemserve mara ya pili. Kama umemserve mara ya pili, court thereafter itapeana a hearing date. So remember hiyo first part 30 days zimeisha. Second part, mkipewa hearing date, mnaweza pewa hearing date na a period of 30 days. Hiyo ni 2 months. Mnasikizwa, kila mtu anakuja anasema is part of the case, then court itapeana judgment after 30 days. Hiyo itakuwa a good 3 months. 15 days, the first 15 days ya kuconfirm mention. Second 15 days is the second mention date. After hapo mtapewa a hearing date after 30 days. Hiyo ni 30 days plus the first 15 days, hiyo ni 60 days. Judgment inafaa itoke within a maximum of 30 days. Hiyo ni 90 days. Within 90 days in a small claims court, essentially that case is supposed to be over. So in a small claims court, essentially within 90 days, kesi yako itakuwa imeisha. If that guy is found guilty, we begin the process of recovery. But utakuwa umepata judgment within a time period of 90 days. That's the good thing about the small claims, and we want to thank our Kenyan judiciary for that. But kumbuka, small claims ina handle any amounts between 1 million or less. So kama umeimport gari ya 1 million or less, you can be assisted pale kwa small claims court. So if you ask me, that is one of the best way of recovering your money kama umepea ujamaa pesa kuimportia gari na ame lost. Tukiendelea na hizo court, small claims is one of the courts tumeongelea. The second court is the normal civil courts. Normal civil courts process ni kama ya small claims court, but hizo ziko na different ama unique. Small claims court procedures zimekuwa simplified, but the other civil courts procedures ni zile za kawaida, zile zinafuatwa to the letter. Now, if you're importing a cow whose value is more than 1 million, unafaa file kesi pale civil courts, ama unless unataka kuforfeit ile value iko juu in excess of the 1 million. Civil courts, same process kama small claims court, but a bit longer. For civil courts, bado unatafuta wakili, anapiga ule jamaa demand letter, 7 to 14 days, asipo respond, you file a case. Hii case una file the case documents, then you file something known as summons to enter appearance. Summons is the official, are the official documentations of inviting someone to a court, of informing someone there is a case against them. So lazima pia ile summons upeleke pale kotini, isainiwe na executive officer wa koti, stamp, ndio chukua hizo summons na zile documents za court, userve ule mshukiwa ule jamaa amekudefraud. Again, vile tumesema, unaweza ziscan vizuri, utume soft copy in WhatsApp ama on email, ama upelekea ule jamaa physically. From there, court itapeana the first mentioned date. Now, unlike the small claims court, hii first mentioned date inaweza come after 5 months. Remember, within these 5 months, pale kwa small claims court, kesi ishaisha. Wewe ndio upate the first date, the first mentioned date ya civil case, pale civil court ni 5 months. Kutoka hapo mkipata hii date, an average of another 3 months, ndio mkuja sasa tena kotini, mdiscuss kama all parties have put in their documents, ama case iko ready to proceed. At that time, you're going to 1 year. Ukimalizia hapo, kutakuwa na probably another 2 or 3 mentions. Put in another 3 months there. Hiyo chafika 1 year, 2 months. Kutoka hapo ndo sasa mpate a hearing date. Hearing date unaweza ipata within 3 to 4 months. That's 1 year, 5 months. Hearing date inaweza peana mbele mbili depending on the number of witnesses each party has. So wanaweza sikiza kesi yako kama plaintiff, then wasikize kesi ya ule jamaa mwingine kama defendant. So kesi ya plaintiff inaweza sikizwa leo, then mpewa another 3 months. Kesi ya defendant asikizwe. Na hizi 3 months nasema tu rhetorically, but they are not circumstantive time limits. So hata hii 3 months inaweza kuwa more. Then mkishasikizwa, muongoje sasa kesi, mkuje for another mention ya kuconfirm kitu inaitwa submissions zimefailiwa, then after that ndio upate judgment. Hii judgment mnaweza pata again after another 3 to 4 months. So technically the time period in these civil cases is between 2 to 3 years. But the good thing about these civil cases is that ukipata judgment in your favor, court calculates the amount of money spent na inakuongezea hadi interest. That is the good thing about these civil procedure cases. Remember, in the criminal procedure case, ule msee akipatikana guilty, 2 things ita happen. Either anaweza amua kulipe, kesi itolewe mahakamani before judgment, ama ataamua fungo. Na venye tumeona hizo vifungo hazina options za fine. So msee atafungwa 6 years ama 7 years. Wewe utakuwa umepata do yako. Ama anaweza fungwa ama 3 years. So for the civil procedure rules, ama the civil procedure way of recovery, kuna option ya kurecover do yako na interest. For me, I'll advise any client who comes to us that let's pursue this thing through the civil procedure way. The only problem that occurs sometimes na hii civil procedure way, ukuje upate msee ama jamaa aliskwonda hiyo do and he doesn't have anything again to offer you. So utakuwa umeenda kotini na hautakuwa na way of recovery. Hapo ndio kuna caveat tu kidogo ya civil procedure way. Comparing these two, I'll advise a client to go for the civil procedure way of recovery. Nikimalizia, again, hizi processes zote zina involve court, The backlog in our courts is a serious challenge. However, things are being done to ease that burden. But again, as I've insisted, if it was up to me advising my client, I'll suggest that we go through the civil procedure way of recovering your debts. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. We have so many awesome content coming your way. Click kwa hiyo button ya like, click kwa hiyo button ya subscribe, and help us grow together. As always, in this episode of Cars and Laws, I've been your host, Wakili Cedric Magotsi. See you on our next show. Karibuni sana.